Hi, and thank you so much for returning to the channel. This is Sonia coming to you with another craft video or DIY video. In the next video, I'm going to share with you how I repaired a wall clock. I bought this wall clock for $10 from a store in my area, and I wanted to use it for a classroom that I was working in. And though I didn't get around to using it in my classroom, I thought that I should go ahead and repair it, or at least attempt to repair it if I could. And I must say that the wall clock looks nice, and the repair movement kit, the clock movement kit, did work perfectly. Now, the arms did come with the clock, not with the repair kit. The ones that did come with the repair kit were smaller, a whole lot smaller, so these extra large arms came with my clock, not with the repair kit. So the first thing that I wanted to do was rule out whether or not the motor itself was still in working order. And all I did to do that was just insert a battery into the back side of the clock like this. And then I just leaned forward to hear the sound of the clock, and it did indeed work. So this was going to be easier than I anticipated. So all that I'll have to do is use the parts of the parts of the new kit to repair my clock right here, and I'll show you the parts that I'm actually missing. So up close, my shaft is missing the very first part, which is a washer. Kind of like is really riveted on the outside, and I'll show it to you here. And if you look closely, they look quite similar. The shaft and the motor looks quite similar. There's at least 1, 2, 3, 4 different sized washers. And in a little bit, I'll open the package so that you can see a whole lot better than this, but I just wanted you to see the difference between what's missing on my clock and what the brand new clock movement kit has. So it's this part right here. This is the only part that my clock is missing, and I'm assuming that maybe during transport, when it was purchased, when the store purchased it, whatever may have happened, maybe you know, you never know what can happen. These are very small pieces, so it could be that we may have lost it during packaging. I'm not sure, but this washer right here is everything that I will need in order to get my clock repaired and in working order. Now, if you're going to use the kit to help you with a project, like you've got your own clock going and you want to make one, this kit will suffice. You will need one of these, and it's a number 11. The only reason I used it is because I couldn't remove the bottom washer with my hand only, and so this came in handy. The first washer, that black cushion washer, that's the first thing to come off. It takes a little coaxing to get that one off, but the rest were very easy. So you have a total of 2 and then 3 with the very base washer. And then of course lastly was firstly was the one that we initially took off with the rivets on the outside like that. I'm not sure if I'm even referring to these different parts in the right manner, but hopefully you can see with the video the different pieces that we did remove. So here is all that we have, and if you, like I said, if you're using the movement kit with a clock from start to finish, then you'll have to figure out a way to adhere that motor to your device. I'm not doing that in this case because the motor on my clock is in good working order and I don't have to worry about it. So this was the first washer that came off, and when you do decide to put the arms that do come with the movement kit, they're a whole lot smaller than the arms that I'm showing you here. Now, just in retrospect, and I'll definitely move to a flat surface, you definitely want to use a flat surface because I am working with the clock in this position, but you'll see here shortly where I almost lose the one piece that I needed to complete my project, and that's not a good thing, especially if these little small pieces get lost. You'll have to buy the kit all over again. And by the way, the kit itself, I paid about $4 for it, because when Michaels has those 60% off coupons, that's the only time that I go into their store. Every once in a while, ever so often, if I really need something and it's I'll wait for the 40% off coupon, but I try to maximize my shopping event per se by going after the 60% off coupon. So I used the one in this event, and I was able to get this clock movement repair kit for like considerably less than $5. I want to say it was like it didn't cost not even a day's lunch, so to speak. So definitely a good buy in my case. And I showed you here how it's adhered to the backside with something, I'm not sure, but when you work with your project, if you're starting from scratch and creating a clock from scratch like that, you'll have to figure out how to adhere your the motor itself to your project. I'm not sure. This one on the backside, as you saw, was on there really good. And so since mine is in good working order, I'm not going to remove it. I don't want to start over like that, so I'm just replacing those two washers first, and I'm going to go ahead and tighten those up. And that's another thing too. When I read the instructions, it explained that everything should be tight. So not to where you're going to strip everything. I mean, you'll feel the resistance when it gets to that part, but you definitely want to make sure that it's tight. Now, when it comes to installing the arms on the clock, the shorthand has this groove against it, or this raised area against it. It has to be coaxed on to that plastic area, and I'll bring the camera in a little closer so that you can see that I literally had to force it on, gently forcing it onto this plastic part right here. It sits snugly, and as you can see it right there. The short hand and the long hand onto the shaft of the motor. And you're going to be mindful of the short hand. It has like a raised area. That raised area sits snugly against this plastic part of the shaft. I'm not sure what you would call it, but you guys saw just a moment ago where I zoomed in a little closer. That's that area, and all you do is work it on ever so gently, being mindful that they are intricate pieces, and this is all I did here. And it sits rather snugly against that area, and whenever the long hand is added to the shaft, it doesn't come into contact with it because it doesn't go on the shaft. Now be mindful of the long hand because it has like an oval shape to the area that it sits. The hole is like an oval shape. So, and here is where you guys will see I almost lose this little piece right here, which is the only piece that I really needed in order to repair my clock. But what I will do inevitably is go ahead and take everything off of my end table, off of the coffee table, excuse me, and I'll go ahead and place this clock flat, and then I'll go ahead and start repairing or replacing the hands and what have you. And actually this is a much better view. You'll be able to see it. You see where that plastic washer is, and the short hand just sits easily, snugly against it. And now you can see how you have to be ever mindful of placing the arms back on the clock because it's very sensitive. Now once you get these pieces back together, the last part right here, this little washer that goes at the very end right here, you want to make sure that it's tight, but be mindful not to strip the washer itself because that can happen. What I did was tightened it by hand first, and then I used some pliers to tighten it just a little more like that, and that seemed to work fine. everything back on the clock. I went ahead and set my kitchen timer to 5 minutes just to see if the movement would keep up with the 5-minute timer. And when I returned to the clock, it did indeed work, and I did have everything in place to where I can go ahead and just consider where I would want to hang the clock now. Now this piece, I didn't use it, it's brand new, so I'm just going to save it for my next project. I'm not going to throw it away or what have you. After this, when you guys have completed the project, it says that you should set the clock at 12 o'clock and then wind it to your correct time. And I did that, and this is the correct time right here, which is like 5 minutes to 7. And my clock is fixed, and I'll go ahead and hang it up and see where, well actually I'll go ahead and see where I want to hang it up. So hey, thanks so much for watching. This is Sonia saying I will see you guys in the next video. If you have any comments, please post them. Also, thanks so much for subscribing to the channel. Bye bye.